Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we're out here in a subdivision pond and we're going to be going after some largemouth. Wish me luck today. We're going to start with some Senkos and some wacky rigs, and hopefully we can get into a few bass, but if not, we'll switch over to something else. I'm not sure what yet, but let's see if we can get a few largemouth on shore and have a good day out here on the water. It's like mid-80s right now, so it's really warm. There's a big storm coming in, so I'm not sure how long we're going to be able to fish today, but hopefully we can get at least one. Let's see what happens. Starting off with a 1/0 wacky rig hook and a BioSpawn exo stick, 5-inch. Gonna wacky rig this just off the center, that way it kind of lays flat. And there we go. There we go. Wasn't even given time to do the hook set. He just took it and ran. First one today, fishing a little subdivision pond. Not always the most rewarding, but always fun to come out here and just catch a bunch of bass. That's number one, right at about 12 ounces. That first fish came right out of a drainage culvert. You can typically catch these fish out of a drainage culvert, so anywhere that you're seeing just a little bit of current, that's where you want to shoot your worm at. Today I'm fishing very wacky style. I've just got a 1/0 wacky hook in there. Got it kind of off center just so it lays a little flat, because these worms are not exactly straight. And then I'm just waiting 2 or 3 seconds between each jerk and then trying to catch some fish that way. There was a little guy. I wasn't expecting that by any means. He's kind of jigging it a little bit. He came straight out of the weeds for it and hammered it. There he is. See if he's interested again. There he is. Got him. That's very cool. Not a big one, but at least I got a second try right when the fire truck's coming. Can you tell that I'm urban fishing today? Fish number 2. There are bluegill beds everywhere around this little pond. If we don't have too much luck with a bass, we can always come through here with the fly rod and try to pick off a couple of these bluegill. There we go. As soon as it hit the water, he cracked on that thing. I lost my worm. I only have 2 more of these worms. I might have to switch up to something else, but that makes fish number 3 on the wacky rig. All these are pretty small, 12-inch fish. I was hoping for a couple bigger boys. I know there's 3, 4, maybe even 5-pounder in here. Caught a couple 3s and 4s. And I've heard stories there's big ones in here, so we'll see. Another little guy. That is not the jumbo I was hoping for. Lost my worm again. I only got 1 left. Another little guy, his mouth is all deformed. That's what happens when they're in the pond. They get caught 10 times, 20 times, you know, and they start to get all beat up. Well, I found my worm, and even though it's completely deformed and beat up, I'm still going to use it. Because I only got 1 more after this one. So we're going to try to make it work. There's one. That's a better fish. Not a monster, but a little bit better. Wow, he buried that hook. Wow, that hook is gone. That is way down in there. He didn't swallow it, but it's close. I even set the hook quick on that one. I just couldn't get to him quick enough, I guess. There he goes. He had that hook so buried it was almost impossible to get out of there. Bunch of bluegill beds here, which explains exactly why that bass was right there, right on the outside of those bluegill beds. A lot of food there. There's a real squeaky bass that looked at this. I might be able to get him. There it is. And there's a bunch of bass right here. Another little one. Right off the bluegills yet again. You can tell that they're just grouped up right here, I guess. That's the 3rd one in this spot. There's one. Man, that's a good one. That might be the best one of the day. Oh yeah, really nice fish. Boom. Another one on the wacky rig, and I lost my worm yet again, so we are on to our final worm of the BioSpawn exo swim. Beautiful largemouth, beautiful fish. Whoa, that was pretty quick. And that's it. That's all my worms. I gotta go find more now. Nice fish to end on, one of the bigger ones of the day, probably around 14, 15 inches, a little over a pound. Very cool. We're only halfway through this pond, so we're gonna go see if we can find something else to throw for a little bit, and hopefully we can get on a few more bass or gills. Well guys, the BioSpawn Exo Stick definitely slays. I usually don't use baits like this, but I believe this one came in my mystery tackle box from a few months ago and decided I'd throw it. Just a nice little stick bait. It's got some really cool like ribs on there, so it's kind of got a lot of grooves, and it makes the water move just a little bit different than your typical Senko. So that's why I went with this bait today, kind of just agitate the water a little bit more than normal. Well, after determining I have no more smaller worms, we're going to go with the 5-inch slimy stick, which is just a Senko. It's a Strike King's version of it. We've got green pumpkin watermelon, or green watermelon, or green pumpkin black flake, or something like that. I don't know, pumpkin's in the title, but hopefully we can get a few more largemouth on it. A lot of the smaller ones are biting today, so I would have liked to have some smaller worms, but this is what I'm working with, so hopefully we can get a few on it. There we go. Ah, that was a cool sight cast. He was up on the surface of the water. I don't know what he was doing up there, but got him to commit to the worm. That missed fish kind of shows you why those smaller worms are pretty important. You either need a bigger hook or a smaller worm. There's nothing more fun than getting back to the basics and fishing some subdivision ponds, some neighborhood ponds, and catching these bass. It's like catching bass out of a bucket. I know it's easy, but it's fun to rip some lips every now and then. A lot of the small fish seem to be biting today. Not a lot of the big boys, at least not yet. There we go. Went to jerk the worm a little bit and set it right into this guy. It's a good 1-pounder. Another one of those 14-inch fish out of here. Very nice. Another good quality bass. Nailed him. Nailed him. Set it right on his head. There we go. Another little squeaky bass. Nothing to brag about there. There we go. Little guy. Probably the smallest one today, but that's okay. Plenty more in there to catch. I feel like I got one. That's the biggest one of the day. I was taking a picture with my phone. I guess I need to be a little more patient, just let it sit there. Yeah, that's a nice one. That is definitely the biggest one of the day. Coming up on 1 3/4 pounds. That was all tension, barely even hooked. Not 2 pounds, but getting there. Completely stole my worm. Pretty sure I've got one right now. 3, 2, ooh, no. There's one. Wow, pulling nice. There we go. That was pretty cool. There's kind of some grass that has a little bit of openings out there, and that's where I pitched it, right in that little pocket. Nice bass. There's one. There's like 3 sitting right here. Probably spooked them all out now. We're locked. We got one. There we go. That was so cool. Got to see the bite and everything. Just barely had him hooked though, but beautiful fish. Put him back nice now. Will you stay on this time? Holy smokes, got him. That's cool. I think that makes 3 or 4 fish right out of this one little hole here. Kind of nice and shallow. I don't know why they're all grouped up right here, but there's a couple more still in there. Very nice. Well guys, I think that's going to wrap up today's video. I hope you enjoyed this little episode of bass fishing. We caught a bunch on the old Senko today. Someone left a worm here. Pick up a little bit of trash. I don't know what kind of rusted up nasty worm that is, but hopefully you guys enjoyed. It was a lot of fun to come out here and catch a bunch of fish. The largemouth, didn't get a bunch in big size, but we did get quite a few, so that's always fun. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We will catch you on the next episode. Peace, y'all.